On the bunker today, we're talking to Lars Jyde Nielsen. Lars is a Danish guy living in Prague. I came across him when he was advertising his free diving courses. So he is teaching people how to dive without equipment. Himself, he is certified to dive down to 30 meters. And he told me a lot about this, but it turns out that Lars has an interesting story. He wanted to be in the military back in Denmark, but some health issues prevented that, and his life took a very different turn. He ended up in Poland as a 23-year-old working for a big retail chain, and then from there to Prague, where he met his ex-wife, had kids, and then moved to Denmark, back to Prague. He's done a lot of different things, but the interesting thing about him is that he really likes when things are following some sort of a system, protocol, and that's why he wanted to be a pilot. He likes that about the diving, that you follow a certain protocol, and in his business, that has been kind of the skill that he applies. Interesting guy, interesting story, and I learned a lot about the carpets and freediving, and talked a little bit about the difference between Denmark and the Czech Republic and Poland and this region. And Lars also had actually twice a weight loss journey, which is an interesting thing. Good stuff. The sponsors, guys, that's Alfred Jobs, alfred.cz, available in the App Store. Alfred Jobs, you can set up a profile, you can monitor certain type of jobs, and you get notified whenever a job that is according to your preferences is available. So you never miss a job. You can even still be in your awfully shitty job and looking for a new one without anybody knowing it, because in Alfred you're completely private. Available in Czech, Slovak, and English, and soon in Russian as well. Then it's the Old Bar Prague, great place, new location in Cyfertova 21 in Žižkov. It's close to Churchill Square, where there's a big, beautiful statue of Churchill. The Old Bar has amazing oatmeals and skyr, organic skyr from a local farm, made to a recipe from the Old Bar. Only place in Prague, or in the world probably, where that skyr is available. Tasty, healthy goodies, juice, coffee, available for coming and sitting. It's a beautiful new place, bigger, better, stronger, and also on delivery on Volt and Bolt. Guys, check that out. It's a good place. Enjoy. Welcome to the bunker, Lars Jyde Nielsen. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm perfect. It's nice weather, so...
We're sitting here, two Scandinavians in 30 degrees melting pot.
Two Scandinavian Vikings in 33 degrees in the middle of Prague.
It's horrible. It's horrible. How does this affect you? Do you sleep in this heat?
Because we live in an old building, and it is actually... we have to still have the heating running. Really? It's very, very cold. So we have no problem sleeping.
Yeah, because it's when it gets like this here, because of it's so humid in Prague, you know.
Yeah, but I'm used to more humidity from Denmark.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's so humid in Denmark because of the coast climate.
And now you gave it away, so you're Danish.
I'm Danish.
And I saw a post from you on Facebook, and I was curious because there was something about free diving, and I didn't really know anything what free diving is, so I wanted to bring that to my listeners to let them know a little bit about what free diving is. And then when I started talking to you, reached out to you, it turned out there is more stuff and an interesting career, interesting plans that changed, and you know, some very interesting things that you've done. But what are you? What is Lars?
Well, I'm from Odense in Denmark. It's the home city of the famous writer Hans Christian Andersen.
Yeah.
I didn't live there very long. Then we moved to another place of Denmark in the south, and I lived there my whole young life until I was 18, 19, finishing business school. So
how was Odense? I mean, how
Well, Odense, I just know coming there as a young man with a train or with my car when I got driver's license. It's a small city actually compared to anything what we know here in Czech Republic or Copenhagen or something. It's a small city, even though it has 300,000 inhabitants.
Yeah. And it's on this island, this Fynen.
Yeah, it's on the middle island. If you look on a map, there are many islands in Denmark, but especially 3 are coming out, and it's in the middle one. Yeah, in the south.
And you say, how do you say Odense when you're Danish?
Odense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult word to pronounce.
It is. It's very flat. Yeah. And it's even more worse when I say it because of the dialect on our island. It is very flat, and people say country style almost.
Is that what they call in Copenhagen? They say bønnerå.
Bønnerå, farmer.
Farmer dialect.
Yeah. And we say a small joke about this island, even though it is actually 100 kilometers on each side. If people ask what is Fyn, they say it's a small bump when you drive from Copenhagen to the bigger island. You will feel a small bump. That's Fyn.
Yeah. And so, and you moved from there to which city or town?
I have been living mostly in the south, near a city called Svendborg. Yeah. It's an ocean city, and it's a very beautiful area. It's a top 5 area of Denmark because of the nature. Beautiful nature created by the ice time. The north part of Denmark is quite flat, and the north part of our island is very flat. And where we live in the south, it is hilly because the ice stopped there, and all the earth and the rocks and everything stayed there. So it's hilly and with a lot of forest, and it's very beautiful area.
Is it similar to that island? This what's the name of the island out there in the ocean that is half Swedish somehow?
The Bornholm?
Yeah.
No, Bornholm is more rocky. It's more like Sweden, Bornholm, but it's under Denmark. But it is nature-wise, it's more similar to the area around Stockholm and all this. Yeah.
Okay. And big family, siblings?
I have one smaller brother. He's 2 years younger than me, and he now lives in Halifax in Canada. Okay. He also had quite a travel around the world. Okay. So my parents, they are not too satisfied with us.
Nobody is living at home.
Nobody is living at home. All the grandchildren are living abroad. So. Okay.
But you told me, we were chatting earlier, and you told me that you had some. Your ambition was to become in the military. You wanted to be in the military, right?
Yeah, I thought the best way for me to get to where I wanted, which was originally a pilot, not a fighter pilot, but that was the easiest and cheapest way to get the certificate for pilot. So I analyzed how I could do this, and I got all the language and the mathematics on my business school. And then you can say the business part of the business school was like a drop-back security. I didn't need it for that direction, but in case it didn't work out, I would have something concretely to continue on.
Yeah, and why did you want to go and be a pilot? Was there something in your family or childhood or something?
No, it was. I was fascinated. First of all, I'm fascinated about the airplane as such, and still enjoy watching it. But for me, it was the work that it has to be taken very seriously. Nobody will blame you if you do exactly the same.
By the book. Yeah.
By the book. I like responsibility. And then I just thought that it was interesting to be able to travel the world like this. I don't know if that's true for a pilot. Or they just sleep all the time when they come home. But that was my objectives at that time.
So there was no pilot your father wasn't a pilot or anything like that?
No, I have absolutely no reference to anything.
And what did they do, your family? What were they?
My mother worked, when I was a child, she worked in my father's company, helping him with some bookkeeping, and my father were building houses in his own company. Okay. He had a small company that grew a little bit, and then it stopped, and we actually moved to a small farm and started be farmers.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
yeah, with all kinds of animals and taking care of that, making 200-300 bulls a year for the supermarkets. So
that's great.
tried that.
So you made beef.
We made beef. Yeah.
Because in Denmark, it's at least on Jutland, it's more pork.
Yeah, there are some big farms.
Yeah.
There are really some big farms. But it was a fashion that came in those, I believe it must be the 90s, something called low-fat beef.
Yeah.
Young bull beef.
Yeah.
So the bull would not even be 1 year old.
And
that meat was very, very delicious. So it was a very special kind of farming where the animals were running around freely.
Oh, nice.
In big boxes. It was on the roof, but there were no walls. So they would all the time be like in free air.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that was nice.
Yeah. And so military.
Yeah, then I volunteered in the draft to get to the normal military session, which was at that time, I think, 8 months. And I would then directly from that continue in whatever direction was needed. Because I was actually also fascinated with underwater scuba diver as a working profession, doing work in the depth, welding, screwing something from something metal or whatever. That also fascinated me because it's some of the same objective with concentration, with responsibility, at least for yourself or the partners with you. So
you're following a checklist somehow. I mean, this is what you do. This is how you do it. This is what you check before. So you like these kind of things?
I like the systems. I like the systems. It's getting more loose when I get older, but it was definitely a little bit manic when I was younger.
And so either military had two options, or could have been two options.
Could have been two options. Yeah.
That was flying or diving.
Yeah. And you can say my luck and what made the change why I didn't go that way is that when I was drafting for military, it was 14 months before I should actually go there. So I still had 1 year of business school to finish. So at that time, I did not know anything else than that. And at that time, I was actually doing gymnastic in the 2nd division of Denmark. Training 3-4 times a week, 20 hours a week or something like that. And after the summer holiday, I noticed that I had to drop out after 5-10 minutes of warm-up. Coming back from summer holidays, I couldn't move. There was something wrong in my back. So, and I was still in my ending of growing up. My body was not developed. At this time, I must have been 18, 19. So something was changing. And it got worse and worse and worse. Bigger pains, and I couldn't put on my shoes without pain. So I knew something was wrong. And I had a doctor to look at it, and it turns out that there was something, let's not get too technical, but there was something missing in my spine. So it was wrapping the nerves. Yeah. And immediately when the military knew this, they say right away, you are welcome here. You can do this with this, but you get no insurance. We cannot insure you. And then it kind of dropped a little bit from that. So,
but you wouldn't. I mean, would you have been able to do it anyway with all the pain, or?
I think no.
No.
I think no, because remember, I did 20 hours of gymnastic. I was watching my dad's farm because he was in bed for 1 year after a traffic accident. So I was watching the farm every morning, every evening with my mother. 300 animals. I was working and doing sport like a maniac without pain. And after the summer holiday, I couldn't move.
And nothing happened on that holiday. No. There was no incident
No. It was just my growing up ending. You can say something happened there in my.
Yeah. Something got dislocated somehow, or.
Yeah, just puberty ended.
Yeah.
So I stopped growing or something. I don't know. I'm not that tall anyway. So.
Yeah. But So this means that you can't follow this plan. I mean, you can't get into the military, or you don't want to go with this condition.
Yeah, with this condition, I couldn't do this.
How did that feel?
Well, keep in mind that I had 1 year in business school, the last year, where it is many other things become interesting also. So I was not hugely disappointed. What I was most disappointed about was that it took me so long to realize. Because in Denmark, if you want to start a new job, like get your certificate, like something, 1, 2, 3 years, it is mostly beginning on the 1st of July or the 1st of August. And I was supposed to be in the military 1st of October. And I didn't realize that I wouldn't go until 1 week before 1st of October. So it means all these
you missed all the other
jobs educations. Yeah. They were gone. It was some law. If they take me after, they have to pay me immediately 5 weeks of holiday paid. But if they take me at this time, they don't have that obligation. So nobody will take you. So 1 week before going to military, I had no future professionally. And from that, I needed to find something to do until next summer, meaning some 10 months or something. So I just looked around, see what I could do, find different kind of work, did various things. I have been working since I was 10 all the time, so it wasn't too difficult. But at this point, I wanted something more adult, full-time. So I was looking for some kind of driving job where I could deliver stuff. And I came into this one shop, let's call it in English Carpet World. In Danish, it's Teppeland. In Germany, it's called Topvært.
Yeah,
it was called that in whole Benelux, France and Luxembourg. And I see a girl which I was familiar with from the business school, and I haven't seen her a long time. And I was so surprised to see her in that kind of shop because carpets and floors, it's rather boring.
Yeah.
But she advertised for this job quite heavily with some fantastic points why this job is very, very good. And I was immediately convinced. Immediately,
and
I knew.
Not just because she was good looking or something.
And not it paid, of course, something also, but it was mostly what she said. I can say honestly. And I applied, and luckily I got the job. But it was now I think after the process, it was on 6-7 months. I should wait for this job. So I did some other jobs in the meanwhile.
And so you get into this carpet world, and was that like?
No, I found the system.
What was it? You found the system there as well. Like,
yes, exactly. Because it sounds strange because the carpets and the floors, it's maybe boring. It's just the product, but the people coming in. They bring some savings, some big money, because it can be very expensive to renovate your floors. So they, of course, want the best product for the money they have. And it's this responsibility I liked immediately. But what I also liked is that we were leaving the shop. We didn't stay inside the same shop 24/7. We left the shop many times a day to go visit the customers at home, see how they were living, what conditions are the floors, are there some technical things we need to know before we can put down this floor what they want. And then on the site, create the drawing. Now comes the system. All what we need to do, present it for the customer, see if we can close the deal, get a signature, and then come home, order all the things, order the people who should do it, put it in correct way, and all this process of having control of your administration, that fascinated me, and the responsibility. And of course, on the human side, I like the empathy for the people also. I really like that people, if you talk correctly to them, they will trust you with this, because in Denmark
people do business with people. They buy from people.
They
not
buy
the
from
product,
people. And it was a time where still we had no internet trade. We really relied on people, what they were saying to us when we went shopping there. And you know, the Danish culture of carpets are extremely extremely luxurious and very, very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So for a normal living room, it would be easily between 1,000 to 3,000 euros for a living room.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just an old couple on pension, maybe somebody is saving 5-6 years for this, and then
you better get it right.
You better get it right. And I so much enjoyed this responsibility and the contact with the people. And then they would come slowly and they would do the next room, and and then I will send my son or my daughter, they are moving, or you know this. I love this so much that you can get the mouth to mouth advertising also from what you do.
Yeah, it gives a certain satisfaction somehow to know that you're doing a good enough job that people actually want to talk about it to others, you know. So.
And all my friends, not all my friends. Some of my friends, they were more into these fashion clothes or selling computers or hi-fi equipment or something. But when we talked, I could say that they were just vacuum cleaning toilets, washing something, driving something, lifting something, and all these things I also did.
Yeah.
But nobody told me when. It was my responsibility that the shop was nice in this way. But I had all the clients also. And total freedom. It was an amazing manager. He gave me total freedom because I could do the job.
But as you said, I mean, it's you know, carpets are maybe not like, you know, it's not something that you write Oscar movies about.
No.
But it's interesting that you found the passion in something else than the product itself.
Yeah, it was a whole package. It was a whole package of this connection between the end user and us as professionals.
Did you ever have like some, I don't know, like that somebody came in, bought something, and then he told you, okay, I'm going to go on holiday, and you install my new carpet while I'm away, and then you put down the wrong carpet?
No, but I have tried to install. I was not installing.
But
I was responsible. I have tried to install a very expensive living room, extremely expensive living room, and I don't know how the people could not see a big error in the carpet in the middle. It was a light carpet. It was from wool, what is a natural product, so it cannot be paper white, but it was so obvious. And of course, it was 70 square meters or something, a huge living room, very expensive, and so many furnitures to be taken in and out. And then first time that sunrise, and you see the light on the carpet, it was so visible.
And what happens then?
We changed it.
Really?
Yeah. It was a big mistake.
Yeah, but I guess it's like, you know, I was telling you before, I just bought a car, and it turned out when it came from Germany, it was the wrong car.
Yeah, it can happen.
It can happen.
Yeah, it can happen.
So I have to send it back and get a new one.
Yeah. So,
but this carpet world, I mean, this gave you like, it gave you a career, you know, that it took you on a path, right?
Yeah, because somebody could wonder why I could not do the military if I can lift carpets, and it is also correct. But I didn't have to lift carpets at 3:00 in the night on some exercise with other soldiers. So I would get my rest, and I was not lifting carpets all the time. That was
less intensity.
Yeah, it was less intensity, and it was a 2-year education to get what we call a shop assistant certificate. You get your education that you are able to run a shop, marketing, decorating the windows, whatever, all these things. And in these 2 years, I got so much responsibility because the manager was very, very open and very good with his employees. And immediately, I was running all reclamation as a newbie. All reclamation, what came to me. And I would handle them because I had the empathy side. What they missed, they said. Yeah, I was good with the customer when he was angry to get him settled down and then solve what is the problem. Yeah. So and then I started doing business to business, what was very interesting. Doing hotels, doing offices, with all kinds of technical things where things cannot be static. It has to be anti-static for high-tech equipment that cannot come some sparks from the carpets or something like this. So it got more and more in these 2 years, much more than you normally get as a shop assistant, much more. And immediately I told, not immediately, the first year when it was ending, I told my manager that I like this company and I want to proceed.
You want to make a career out of this?
Yes, and they shipped over the district manager to talk with us. He came regularly, and we made a small plan to keep things open. What were happening? Something were happening in Germany. Of course, something were happening in Denmark, but it was more or less settled with those 45 shops what we had. And then out of nowhere, really out of nowhere, they went into Poland. They opened in Warsaw, one big shop, and it was in 93, 94, so just 4 or 5 years after.
Yeah, communism ends.
Yeah, and you can say just 4 or 5 years, yes, but it takes a long time before the big international companies could start investments, building something, shopping parks.
Yeah.
So we were. I was not there when they opened in Warsaw, but they actually sold 100% of the shop before it opened to people passing for curious. There was nothing to buy that beautiful what we had. We had all the nice products from Denmark, from China, from Nepal, and it was just gone. The manager came from his job in Germany. He was also from Denmark. He was also called Lars. And he was getting his certificate in the very same shop in Svendborg, which I did. So he went through Germany, became a country manager in Poland, opening this big business over there. And then he needed to expand. He wanted to open more shops, so he needed somebody who knew the concept. Not to be the boss of the shop, but to teach the boss of the shop how to do it and then leave. We call it supervisor. Yeah. So
you come in for the project of opening a store, and then you stay with them maybe 3 months after it's open, or a month or something, and then you leave.
Yeah, we planned it like this because it is quite difficult to learn about floors, not the product, but the floor under. What condition is it? Do you need to put some cement on it? All these things. So it's not just like that. And of course, the whole selling process. How to be a better salesman, how to present the shop. So I said immediately, I want this. But I was still not out of my 2 years.
Yeah, because you're like 22, 3.
Yeah, something like this. And I still didn't end my certificate, this 2 years education. So 1 week after finishing, I flew to Warsaw. And I stayed 3 months in Warsaw to learn a little bit about how we did it there. And then we had a signed contract with IKEA in an IKEA shopping center. We had a big shop ready, and I would be responsible from the very moment they put on the roof. So you come into this concrete building and had to make this ready for our shop. All the installation has to fit with our installation. There could not be a fireway if we have planning some carpets there or. So all this way, and then finding employees, employ them, finding shirts, balloons, all kinds of things. We didn't have it, so we found everything. And I opened my first shop in a Polish city called Poznan. Lived there 1 year, left it to another guy, and then I left to the south of Poland, to Katowice. And I opened a shop there and stayed 8-10 months in that shop also. So that is now total of 2 years in Poland.
So wait, so you come from a farm in Denmark, and with the plan of being a pilot or a scuba diver for the military, and then you are 22, 3 years old, opening carpet stores in Poland.
Yeah, it sounds correct. Your summary.
Okay, and but how was it? Because how was it to come to Poland in, as you say, like 93, 4, 5, when nothing has been there, like as you say, the supplies of the store are sold out before the store opens because this product just hadn't been available.
Yeah.
But how was it to find the balloons, to find the shirts, to get everything?
It was so difficult.
Yeah.
First of all, I came 1st of August 96, finishing this education in Denmark, and then I didn't speak Polish.
Yeah.
And that is, of course, the biggest challenge, because very, very, very few people of those people who we wanted the mature people to be employed, let's say 30 plus, 35 plus.
And they wouldn't speak English.
They wouldn't speak English. They could speak Russian, if anything. But only the young people. So we had to employ some youngers also. So it was very difficult, I can say. Very difficult. But somehow, when a person is put in this position, you just do. You need to do something. So
the only thing you can't do is nothing.
Yeah, that's of course. So you do mistakes, you correct them, and you continue.
And then you get on to Prague somehow, or
then to be honest, I was not personally very satisfied in Poland.
With your life, in general.
and the life in Poland. It was not suiting me because I am so naive. I believe in the best of all people, and it hurt me so many times.
It's the Scandinavian syndrome.
Yeah,
we are too nice.
We are too nice, so I got stabbed in the back so many times from our staff. And and I was young and didn't know about these many things. We had so many things, control systems, surveillance systems. And I couldn't believe it. It was negative energy for me.
Yeah.
So I said to them, I can see in our internal magazine, we had an internal magazine, it said that they are now going to open next year in Czech Republic together with IKEA and the same deal like what we did. And I immediately complained why they would bring new people from Denmark. Why they didn't take us who already went to
in Poland. Yeah.
We already knew the Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not to say that those countries are the same, but they are a little bit more closer than if you just come from Denmark.
Yeah.
So I complained about this, and of course, because I was so young, they told me, "But Lars, you need to crawl before you can walk." So it meant, of course, I was not enough mature. I was not enough experienced.
Yeah.
So they basically just told me, you can go there because we actually don't have a manager for the first 8 months. We have found some person, but he is bound to his job, and I will not say the company, but he had a contract. He couldn't leave it in a big position. He was bound 8 months. So we need a country manager for those 8 months. So I said, okay, this is good. I wanted to leave Poland, so I left for Prague. And that was, if Warsaw was from scratch, this was even more from scratch because there was nothing, absolutely nothing. So we started in a hotel room, finding everything. There was nothing. So, and there were more people speaking English. I immediately find a secretary who could translate for me. So it went very well. And then I was a country manager in Czech Republic.
About you're 23,
I think 23.
And why? What do you
25.
think that you? Why do you think? I mean, like, why do you leave Denmark? Was there? Do you know what I mean? Like, it could have. You could have just stayed there, and you know what drives you to come here? You know. Adventures or
it was some kind of adventure. I had a feeling that if I would take a few years in some other countries, I could use my business side from the business school to maybe do some export. And then it would be a benefit to know some languages. It was my belief at this time. But mostly I could say personally, I was going in circles. The job in this carpet world was very, very nice. But personally, I was going in circles. I had some years there where I was... I wasn't satisfied with what was happening, so you can say I left it all, not overnight, but planned. I just needed a whiteboard to start all over. Yeah.
Like a blank canvas.
Yeah, because after this traffic accident of my father, taking care of all this farm and my business school and the gymnastics and the sports, I was so tired, really tired, and missing out on this military thing. And I guess all these 3-4 years
at the same time, it kind of you needed a fresh start somehow.
I needed a fresh start. So it when I saw in our internal magazine that they were doing this, it was a company that I knew.
Yeah.
I believed that, so that was a good security. They would do all kinds of paperwork, visas, and finding
everything
apartments.
was taken care of.
So I should just do my job, and that was settling for me. So
but during this time, I mean, from the moment that you find out that your spine is missing something or something is wrong, because you seem, like you said, 20 hours a week of gymnastics, you're working on the farm, so you've always been active, physically active.
Yeah.
And how was that during this time? Are you active physically or able to be active physically, or is this still a problem?
I can say that I'm not proud of it, but from the moment I landed in Poland, everything stopped. We worked from 9 morning till the opening hours were 9 to 9, Monday to Sunday.
Okay, so it was never a day off.
So we stayed there. So we had so many hours. And of course, sometimes we had to be the people in front, showing the way, doing some physical work, how to do this, teach them. How do we do this? How do we manage these big, heavy carpets? So you can say I did that, but then we ate too much in the restaurants in the evening, and I got bigger and bigger.
But it's easy when you because I actually had the same. I moved from Iceland to Denmark, and I took on a job where I was super busy, and kind of the rhythm of my life went off. Yeah. And then it was super easy. I lived in a hotel, and on the ground floor was Burger King. So that was the easy choice. And all of a sudden, like you've left behind all your good habits. Yeah. But the pain, was the pain still there?
No, it settled a little bit because I was now grown up, and there were no. I was not growing anymore, so it was now stable. But the pain was there. But to be honest, I think it was more for the overweight because I was now getting quite big, fat actually. So
I'm curious about one thing because having lived, I'm from Iceland, and I lived in Denmark for 4 years or 4.5 years, and then now I've been living here in the Czech Republic for 12 years, and one of the things that I have felt looking back to Scandinavia, to Iceland and Denmark from the position of being here, is that we are a little bit spoiled in Scandinavia, right?
Yeah.
And we take everything kind of for granted, and we want more. And is this something that you felt on this? Because you're going. I just get here like 2009. You're in '96 in Poland, and then you come here. Well, 97, 8.
Yeah, 98. I come to Prague.
Yeah. So you come here when people have even less than they have now.
Yeah.
Did you feel this kind of? What the fuck are we complaining about in Denmark?
Yeah, huge deal.
Yeah.
Every time I would come home and somebody would tell about some what would be considered really luxury problems here in Czech Republic, I would of course try to influence them not to be so negative. That if you just leave Denmark and go and leave Scandinavia, this is by no means standard in the world. So, but yes, we see that a lot. But the biggest thing was actually that our welfare system in Denmark, it is to some degree, of course, a safety net, but it is also a sleeping nest, or what you can say. Yeah. Because the difference of getting social benefits when you're unemployed and the job what you might get, the monthly difference can be so low that it cannot even pay your gasoline going there. So you have no motivation to find a job.
Yeah, I actually had a concrete case like this. We had an office out in Dragur, outside of Copenhagen, which is a tiny little beautiful village, and we were trying to hire people that were unemployed, and they said no because exactly of this. They said it will cost me, it won't cover my bus right?
Yeah,
to work
the
every day
difference,
to come
yeah.
here,
And it takes the motivation out of
Yeah.
people to try something. If
Yeah.
you don't work in Czech Republic, what you can buy from your social benefits,
Yeah.
it is less than nothing.
Yeah.
It is really nothing. So you need to do something. And that was the biggest change for me, that this motivation of take care of yourself. This and I'm trying to bring it on to my children. You do it yourself.
Nobody is supposed to do it for you.
Don't expect the society to lift you up. Just do yourself. I have these 3 small mantras. They are so tired of me when I say them. But they know them now. They live according to them.
But it's I remember, you know, I have a lot of friends that are very judgmental towards women that come from this region, and they because most of the women, for example, that have come to Iceland from Czech Republic in the past, you know, and like now I'm talking in 95 to maybe 2000, 2005, they came to work in strip clubs and stuff like that, and it's very interesting. And you know, like obviously when I lived in Iceland, I was like, okay, they're all strippers there. But then when I moved here, I realized that, well, I can see why you make that choice, because if you go and work here in a supermarket, you earn maybe, you know, 500 euros a month. Yeah. But if you go and work as a stripper in Iceland, you can earn 500 euros a night. Yeah. And it kind of, to come into this environment kind of made me see things in a very different way. And it frustrates me often when I then look at what we're bitching about in the north, you know, and we call ourselves the happiest nations and the richest nations. And then all we do is to fight and complain.
Complaints,
you know?
about small things,
But so you're saying that this was a side note of Scandinavian pain, but you're saying that during this time that you get in here, and you know, basically when you land in Poland, you stop all the good habits.
I did.
And you start gaining weight.
Yeah, I did.
Was that a lot? I mean, was it like 1 kilo per year, or was it like?
No. It was. I don't know exactly what. I would say it was over those 3-4 years, from 96 going to Poland and leaving Czech Republic in the year of 2000. In my mind, it would be more than 15-20 kilos. Mm-hmm. So it was from being a sporty teenager. I have a little bit muscles, so I would weigh something more than 80 anyway, but I got above 100. Mm-hmm. And but the changing point a little bit was in 99, when I was supposed to leave Czech Republic after these 6-7 months of being the country manager. We had a secret meeting with my Danish manager and the one who was supposed to come and take over my position. And we should just talk about what was happening in our company, so he would know, because it was getting closer and closer for him to come. And when the meeting ended, I told my Danish manager, that man is never coming. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but something told me he is not coming here. Mm-hmm. And they said, but it can't be. We have a contract and everything. Okay. I will not say anymore. So I took all my things after 3.5 years. Took all my things, moved it back to Denmark. I had just one suitcase here, like in a hotel, you can say. And I was ready to go home. And I had actually a contract from a real estate agency on a house, which I should buy together with my little brother in our town. It was ready for our signature when I came home. And he called me, my Danish manager, and he said, I owe you a beer.
You were right.
You're right. He's not coming. Mm-hmm. And nobody knew about this. Nobody knew that I was supposed to leave, that it was just temporary. So then I was the only one who could actually proceed in that position, and the most obvious one to do it, because I did okay with the opening of Czech Republic. From scratch, we opened in Prague together with next to IKEA, and we opened in Brno next to IKEA. two shops, 1 month apart from each other. They opened up.
Bring the microphone a little bit closer to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, good.
So they offered me the job, and it was a contract with no ending.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, I need to go back to a normal day again. So I would start not working all the weekends, and I would then go to see something.
Yeah, so you were happy working 12 hours a day as long you knew it was temporary. It was going to take an end. And now, when they wanted you permanently, you said, "Okay, I need to have a life."
Yeah, because I in those 3.5 years, I knew nobody. You can say you meet somebody.
You don't make friends that way. You don't have time for that.
No. So I said I need a normal day here. Where I go shopping, come home, make dinner, go for friends, go for sports. So I started slowly to take off in the weekends, going for tourist attractions, taking my car, going somewhere 1-2 days, experiencing Czech Republic, you can say. And I was immediately much happier in Czech Republic than in Poland. For my case, it was much better.
It is much better, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then I started because I was missing something from previously from the gymnastic world. We did gymnastic, you know that, choreography to music. You are a group of people doing the same kind of movements in the rhythm of music. And I was missing this, but it didn't exist here. So I did the second best thing, and that was I started doing old ladies aerobics. That was my level because I was overweight, and they were so looking at me because there are no men.
So you showed up in a class with the older women.
Yeah. They assigned me to this old ladies class because they were not used to men doing aerobics here. So I was the only one doing that, and I could immediately do what the women were doing. I was just a lot more sweaty than them.
And is that like at that time you have realized that you want to lose that weight again?
I wanted to just be in normal shape again. I was not so focused for the weight. So after some 3-4 months of doing this aerobics, I changed for a higher level of aerobics.
Younger women or
younger women, and in this class, the mother of my children were the instructor. Yeah. So
that's where that started.
That's where that started. So and then began a whole, I can say, season of doing a lot of sport. And I dropped 20 kilos at that time back in '99. So I was back to this normal weight of 85 or something like this. Yeah.
And how was that? Like, did you feel like a mental change as well? Because I mean, I was fat. I lost 30 kilos in like 9 months, and it took me a while to get used to my new self somehow. Did you feel something like that?
No, not mentally. Physically, it was a big benefit, but mentally, I can say, coming from all this with this experience and having so much responsibility and this, I was confident already. So I didn't feel it at this time. In my more older years, when I lost weight, I felt it heavily. But at that period, it was most physically. The pain was gone.
Yeah. I had the same. I mean, I had a lot of back pains and things that disappeared with the weight loss. But talking about the weight loss in general, so you put on weight again, right?
Then to make it short, I was then with this woman for that little year, and unfortunately, the company decided to make a huge investment, and they wanted to invest in Turkey. To buy some 40 shops down there, and then there should be one East European company, you could say. And they wanted me to be the purchasing manager. They wanted the Polish manager, this other Lars, to be the manager, and then some woman to be the administrative. But that meant that I should move back to Warsaw. I said immediately that sounds like a good plan for you. I thank you for this opportunity, but I will do that job. I will be happy to do that job, but I will do it from Prague. I will travel to Warsaw as many times as you want to have meetings, but if I'm a purchase manager, I need to travel to Germany and Belgium and France to buy carpets. So it doesn't matter where I live, actually. But they meant otherwise. And they actually said that it was with or without me, they would do this. So I said, okay, then let me stop my contract, and I will then move back to Denmark. And I got the second biggest shop in Denmark, which were falling down. It was it was doing minus, very bad conditions. So this woman and me, we then in year 2000 moved back. Not for her, it was not back.
Yeah,
she's a Czech woman.
She moved with you. Yeah.
She moved with me to Denmark in the year 2000. And then we began regular family life. I was doing the shop. She was at home and doing Danish language. And in 2002, we got the first child. And then life just proceeded. And slowly, I went back to 100 kilos. And I stayed there for 15 years.
We call 100 kilos in Iceland, we call that a postcode, because the postcodes in Iceland are 3 numbers.
Ah, really? Yeah.
So you have 3 digits, then you're in a postcode weight.
Ah, okay.
And so you stay there, but then you get back here, right?
Yeah. Then then actually some 8-9 years goes on.
Yeah.
And
always in carpets?
No, then in 2005 I changed to do-it-yourself shops, like this where you buy wood and plastery and
like Hornbach
and Baumax and all this, Bauhaus. I became a manager and had, I think, 40 employees in the city of Svendborg, where I'm from. But my wife, she was missing her country. After these 9 years, I can say. And I always promised to her, and she promised me actually also, that we would never keep each other hostage. If for good reason somebody needed to go back, we would do it when possible, not overnight.
Yeah.
So I started applying for jobs. And I ended up in second place, being the country manager for Jysk.
That's another Lars.
That would be 800 employees in Czech Republic and Slovak. Some 40 shops. And I ended in second place in 2009. So that didn't work out. And then in 2010, something happened that I went out of my work and started something for myself with 2 other guys. And that job didn't care where I lived.
Okay.
It was on an office. So we took that chance. And we moved our 5 children, the youngest one 2 months, to the south part of Czech Republic in a small mountain city, 5 kilometers from the Austrian border. It's a ski resort. Yeah, it was just some friends who told us it was nice, so we moved there. And it's crazy. But the thing was that we wanted the children to not be in a very, very big, busy school. They needed to learn the language. So this little city could offer that. And it was a perfect choice if we look at the children. And I would sit in a hotel room. I rented a hotel room like office. And I ran this business from an office in South Czech Republic. And it went very well.
Well, what kind of business was this?
It is extremely strange.
Nothing is strange on this podcast.
No, okay. Then,
and you can swear and whatever.
Yeah, okay. My neighbor in Denmark, he needed somebody who was good with systems and administration.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And he saw that because I helped him one time, he saw that I could do this. He said, I have a network because I'm working offshore in Angola. Africa, and we cannot get our supplies of gloves, protection gear, mask, clothes, tools, computers, whatever. they were cleaning. They were a cleaning company for the oil industry. They would get all the waste from the oil platforms, or from a boat that is dirty inside that needed to be cleaned inside. All this water would be dirty with oil, and it would come to them.
And they would clean it.
They would clean it, so it would be good for the environmental. Yeah, and it was a company growing extremely. They were like 500 people, needing gloves, shoes, protection gear, all kinds of things. And they could not get it in time because nobody took this administration seriously. And the paperwork to get something into Angola
it's very complicated.
It's extremely complicated. And I learned it very fast because of the systems. I just followed the systems. So very fast my paperwork was very good. So they bought more and more and more. And in 2013, we did a turnover of some, what would that be? 15 million euros, I think. Maybe almost 20 million euros. I did from a hotel room in the Czech Republic.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But were you happy there in that little town? I mean, how because it must be.
I was happy, but it was too far away from Denmark, and I needed to go back to Denmark, where we had our warehouse.
Yeah.
And all the things were arriving in this warehouse. Yeah. And I actually employed my mother to take care of this warehouse and control everything for me, that it was correctly. And then we needed to go back and then put it into some containers and prepare it. And this journey, it was so far away for me. I did it every month and it was too far away. And I could see that this small city didn't offer anything for my children when they would grow up. They would all have to leave very early to do educations. So that was a little frightening for me. And I said to my wife at the time that we needed to at least go to Prague. I promised her that I would always go to Prague at any time. I have not promised to go to a ski resort in the mountains. So she agreed. And in 2014, after 3-4 years in this area, we came up here, bought a house. And 1 year after this contract ended, we knew it was a contract we would lose again. Yeah,
because it was the people you were helping, they probably had a temporary contract on the...
Yeah, they had a temporary contract, and we knew that if somebody would buy them, they would do it themselves. Yeah. And that happened.
Okay.
So we say in Danish, we milked the cow as long as we could.
Yeah.
And that started the financial foundation for me personally to create a small company in Denmark where I do real estate. I rent offices and warehouses to small companies. Again, the small man. I have no focus for bigger companies. I take a building and I separate it into many small places, and I rent it for a carpenter. Now, yesterday I signed a contract with a woman who is starting to create her own jewelry in a small office.
Okay.
Somebody is doing some physiotherapy in an office, and carpenters, roofman, and
but I guess that's also good diversification, because instead of having one big tenant,
exactly,
then you have 30 small ones.
Yeah, but for me it's again about the contact, and I so much like to help these small companies to grow. I already had 2 companies outlive their space and had to move. Of course, I'm sad to say goodbye, but I'm also proud that they made the beginning of the company within something we agreed on. So this is my financial foundation is this company. It's not big enough to be rich from, but I remain my freedom. I value my freedom for this.
And during this time, you're putting on the kilos again.
And now even worse. Now it's even worse. Something happened when we moved back to Czech Republic in 2011.
Maybe it's a beer.
I'm not drinking so much beer at this time. It's more the way they cook with the oil. You know, this what do we call it? Smasini. What is it called?
Fried cheese and fried
everything,
all this
fried,
deep fried. And,
everything fried. And I went to my maximum. From what I know, because when you are overweight, you don't check your weight.
I know that.
But I know that it was 118.
And you're not tall.
I'm not tall. I've never been called tall, no. So it was bad.
Yeah, and you felt it
I felt it. Sleeping bad, everything, all the standards.
But what kind of got you to go again and change again? I mean, what was there a triggering moment or something? Or
it was because my ex-wife and me, we outgrew each other a little bit. We have never been fighting or have some big issues, but we have maybe also never been real passionate about each other. We have respect, and it was good balance, family life, but something were missing. And in 2015, it just changed somehow. Some big changes came, and I knew this cannot be. But I felt guilty because when you have 5 children, and the youngest one in 2015, he would be 4. For me, it was too young to get a divorce. So I tried to stay in this relationship. I tried to work with what my wife was very open to the problems. It's not like it's her fault or my fault. It's the situation. And then slowly I just realized, why do I tell everybody they have to do it themselves? And I am not doing anything. I'm not even listening to myself. I am maybe a very good motivator and teacher and all kinds of things, but I'm actually not doing it. So, and I knew, of course, if it would come to the point that I should meet somebody again, well, it's maybe better to make myself slightly more attractive. Yeah.
More presentable.
Yeah. And of course, I could feel that I could not bicycle correctly. I could not play tennis correctly, what I enjoy a lot. So I knew that I needed to take the top off easily, fast, because it was painful. And I knew also that I am not good for a diet. I need something what will stay. And then somebody was telling me about this carbohydrate cure. You can say where you eat less and less of carbohydrate. And that fascinated me, that you can eat many things. You can eat what you like. You should just eat less of those things. And he said to me, you will feel nothing. 2-3 weeks. You will feel nothing. Nothing happens. But after 2-3 weeks, your body start like an engine to burn off from your fat depots. And then I lost 2 kilos a week.
Yeah.
And I continued, and I lost 15 kilos quite fast. 3-4 months maximum. And now I lost 35.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's such a good feeling when this happens.
It really
because
is.
I remember this, my moment was, I stepped on a scale that I hadn't done on purpose. I had avoided all scales. And I was in my office in Denmark, and I found a scale behind one of the doors, and I stepped on it, and then I was like, "Shit, this is bad."
It's bad.
And I kind of did the same. It was I was avoiding those bad carbohydrates, white bread, white sugar, and
pasta,
and these kind of things. And I actually started eating more and more frequently than I had done before.
Yeah.
And I was surprised actually how easy this was. I mean, like I
no
always,
effort.
Yeah, it was no effort because I was never hungry or anything like this. But for me, it was like I told you earlier, it was a big. Maybe it's just because I had continuously been fat since I was always a little bit fat.
Yeah.
And then it had just got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe so for me it was a mental change as well, because I kind of had to get used to a new me somehow.
Yeah, that's right. Because you're not because you can actually. I lost 25 or 30 kilo. I lost totally without sport.
Yeah,
it was
just the same for me. Yeah,
just from changing my eating habits.
Yeah.
So, but then immediately, when I felt more light, because you cannot say it's overnight, but one day you actually realize it. Wow, I'm slim again.
Yeah,
and that makes you say, okay, now I will play tennis.
Yeah.
And you start slowly, and then you build up your muscle mass again. And So it started in 2016, 17 for real, that I wanted to change something. And at this point, it was very bad at home. We were not still fighting or anything, but a lot of what I want from a relationship was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I on this weight loss, because when we started talking and you told me about this, I it's one of those things that I'm actually very thankful to all of the people that told me that I was fat. Yeah. And they kept. I knew that there was something wrong. My doctor in Denmark told me, "Listen, you're not on the right track." You know, I had some friends that told me, "Imagine if you put on 2 kilos for the rest of your life every year." And I was like, "Okay, then I'll be 400 kilos." You know, and you know, like so there was always in my environment, both people, you know, even my mom, you know, would tell me, "Listen, you've gained weight," you know, and nowadays, I mean, I lost weight, I don't know, 12 years ago or something, or 15 years ago, and nowadays there is a lot of talk about fat shaming, and if this is fat shaming, I'm very grateful to those shamers, and I just want to get your opinion on it. You know, is it normal to be telling people that being fat is good?
It's become normal because we somehow feel we should accept, and we maybe should accept, it's maybe the wrong word, but we call everything normal. Everything is normal. It's normal to be fat. It's normal to, now it's almost getting normal to do some kind of drugs, you can say. Everybody does it, so it must be normal. Everybody, it's normal to be homosexual. So many things is called normal. And I don't think it's the correct word. And it doesn't mean we should not accept or include these people in the life. In all means, we should. But it's not the correct word. It's not normal to be 1.74 m tall, low, and weigh 118 kilos.
No.
There is no way to describe that as normal.
You're almost like a cubic cubic meter or something.
But I can say I had nobody calling me fat. Nobody was calling me fat. I saw this when we started using our mobile phones. When they became very good cameras, we started using them digitally on our holidays, taking pictures. I said, oh my God. When I stand there with my children and my body is the same size as the entire family, I saw it there. Nobody called me fat because I was very active all the time. I was just in pain.
Yeah, but it's interesting with this obesity because I'm more fat because it's the fastest growing problem of the world.
It is.
And on one hand, as you're saying, we're using our phones to take photos. We're sending them, we're posting them. All of social media and every is saying it's beautiful, it's normal, it's great. But all the science is telling us you're killing yourself, we're killing people from this.
I think it's number one.
Yeah. At least in the US, it's the number one killer.
It's the number one killer, No, but it is not normal. We should have more focus to I'm not saying you cannot have a happy life slightly overweight. I think you can. And if you keep a healthy lifestyle with movements, make sure you have a blood circulation that is healthy. I don't know. I'm not a science, but I believe you can be a little bit overweight for a longer period. But
I wasn't unhappy as such, but I didn't feel good.
That's
and I knew that you know, like it was damaging to my health on the long run.
Yeah,
and I actually remember he was checking my prostate for cancer when he told me, listen, you can't go on like this, you know, and I was like, okay, but. And we would never do this with smoking. We would never say that it's normal to smoke.
No, we would never do this.
Because it's a killer.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when you're on this interesting, it's a very interesting journey that you've had. But you somehow... You get back to the water because you wanted to be a diver in the military, and that was one of the things that, or in the Navy, that you wanted to work underwater, and you somehow get back to water. And I wanted to talk to you about free diving.
I get when we moved back to to Denmark. I was working in this carpet shop for 3-4 years, and that was a network in a total different city. So when I came back to Svendborg of my city, I was again, you can say, without friends in the city. So in 2004 or 5, when I got the new job, I immediately got friends in the city. And one of them, who is still my friend, he was in a triathlon club. He was actually the chairman of the triathlon club. But it was falling apart. Some people had been misadministrating it. And it's illegal to have a club where you handle people's money without doing it correctly and doing a yearly
accounting and reporting. And
all these things. So again, my administrative side came in, and I took over as a volunteer in this club. And this chairman and me, we then created, actually over the years, the second biggest triathlon club in Denmark, ending up from 3-4 members to 110.
And these are like the full triathlons, like the Ironman triathlons?
It can be Ironman. We had a few people doing even some more heavier, these where they run 24 hours or swim around for 10 hours, I don't know.
Yeah,
some extremes.
Ultra marathons and these things.
I was just in this club because I enjoyed, again, the communication with the members. I enjoyed the administrative side of this and planning how we could use the money from the membership to pay for the swimming pool, to pay for example, when it was winter, we did spinning instead of biking. And very fast, I became actually the teacher of new people coming in who couldn't swim as you swim in triathlon. Because when you swim as a triathlete, you are swimming in lakes, you're swimming in oceans, and there are some elements what you don't have in a swimming pool. It can be grass, it can be gobbles, it can be waves, and not to mention
kicking,
all the other
elbows,
people. All the other people, because they are fighting, and it's not a fair sport when they do. They swim over you, they will pull you under, they will give you an elbow in the side so you can't breathe. And we were training this to be prepared when we get out in the ocean, because remember Svendborg is an ocean city, so we would start 1st of May, we would swim in the ocean. And now is my point now. When I was teaching these students, I could actually not swim with them, next to them, and see what they were doing. And I did not want to go on the floor and watch them and then not be in water myself. So I started swimming under them, looking up. So I'm upside down. And one hand was holding my nose, and then I was able to swim same speed as them, under them. And I realized after some time that I'm actually doing this 20-30 times in an evening. One full length in a pool. Swimming upside down under the student.
And what's that, a 25-meter pool? Or?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But when you do it, you start get hyperventilated, and it becomes more difficult to do it. So I realized I enjoy swimming underwater. It's really my element. Still, we're not speaking about diving down to any deep things, but just being underwater and enjoying this control underwater. And slowly, in a parallel to this triathlon, I developed an interest in watching free diving in YouTube, for example. Immediately, it stood very clear that I am not fascinated about the extreme part of it. It doesn't tell me anything to go to some crazy depth. I'm not fascinated about records. I can say, wow, that's amazing. He can do it, but it doesn't trigger anything for me. These extremes. So I have actually never been diving deep. I've just been diving in oceans.
You've just been holding your breath.
Just been holding my breath and swimming around where I was.
But free diving? What is free diving, and how is that different from scuba diving? You know, like what is free diving?
Yeah, the biggest difference is that when you are a scuba diver, you have a constant airflow. It means that, to be honest, it doesn't matter if you are half drunk or in good condition or in bad condition physically. You can always dive, scuba dive. You shouldn't be.
Now
drunk.
a lot of scuba divers would be really pissed off when they listen.
No, they will say the same.
I'm not sending this to the Scuba Divers Association.
No, but it's not to blame them. But if you go on holidays and you go for a disco in the night, you get home in the middle of the night drunk. Many will go on a diving safari the next morning, and they can easily do it.
Yeah.
Because it takes no skills in this way. It takes many other skills, what I can admire very bigly. But the biggest part is, of course, that if you are not physically just in some kind of balance, you will perform less. It comes immediately. It doesn't mean you cannot enjoy it, but you will perform less if you're not in some kind of okay level with your body.
And free diving there is no equipment.
There can be no equipment, just your bathing suits and some goggles. That's the standard. Then you can add fins. You can add a monofin, what is one big like a mermaid fin. And you can add a suit for temperature, of course, if it's cold. Some kind of things like this. But for the sport itself, you can swim just like you go for the swimming pool.
Yeah.
If you want to go deep, you need special glasses.
Because of the pressure.
Because of the pressure.
And I've seen on some videos, freediving videos, that they have often like a rope.
Yeah.
That goes down deep.
Yeah. If you want to focus on going deep, and it is let's say you are in some open ocean where you don't have something you can navigate from.
You don't see anything. Yeah.
You can actually not see where you're swimming, and you could be swimming in a wrong angle. And you can get a little bit confused when you go down if you don't follow this rope. So we actually also have a string attached to this rope. So you just concentrate on swimming down, and this line will guide you. And then you take one breath, and that is what you will have for the entire trip. And you cannot change it. That means that the pressure coming from the ocean will influence your body. Every time you go 10 meters down, the pressure is rising with 1 bar. And we have 1 bar at the surface. So already on 10 meters, you have the same pressure like you put in a normal car tire on your body. On 20 meters, you have 3 bars of pressure. So very fast, your air pockets in your body will get smaller and smaller. The pressure wants to press your intestines, your lungs, smaller and smaller, and they are, of course, protected by the ribs.
Yeah.
So when you go deep, this is a big part, of course.
And is it like a competitive sport? I mean, are people competing in this? I saw there was this guy here recently in Czech Republic that swam under ice.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was setting some world record.
Yeah. He did. It was broken the next week, but but they discuss a little bit about because it's a new kind of sport, and there are many, like in the boxing world, there are many associations and different rules, and they are starting to get them aligned to say what is the record.
Okay, so there's not like in the Olympics some free diving.
There are some things are now in the same way in all associations, but this man was swimming under ice. And the Russian woman who broke it the next week, she was swimming under ice, but was wearing a cap on her head, which protects her a little bit from the cold, of course. So the stress level for her, he says, would be different. But yes, people who do free diving are, for most cases, I cannot generalize, but for most cases, they are competitive. It's similar to the triathletes. They somehow want to go further, deeper, longer time. That's the focus, and they need to train hard for that. The triathletes, they immediately say, I want to do an Ironman next year. I say, okay, you cannot do that. You need to train 1 year, and in that year, we can set you up for a normal Olympic distance, what is 25% of an Ironman. The normal triathlete distance, you can say. And then your body, if you can do that in a normal time, you are now ready to train for the next level. But you cannot do an Ironman after 1 year. Maybe if you come extremely healthy and you already did something, of course somebody will have
if
done
you have some foundation of something.
Maybe yes, but we had people coming in who could not swim. And that you have to swim 3.8 kilometers. in ocean.
And I read this biography of a woman who was the world champion in triathlons, in Ironmans, like 2 or 3 years in a row, a British girl. And she was saying, like, in the beginning of the swim, you get kicked, you get pulled down, and then a lot of people shit as well because they get diarrhea. They're so excited.
Really, yeah.
And she said, you have to be the first one in the water because otherwise you're swimming and other people shit. That's crazy.
Oh, wow. This I didn't hear.
No.
Because mostly you would have your suit on.
Yeah.
In Scandinavia, we have suits on because of temperature. So exactly. That would be a self-goal, as we call it, if you shit in your own pants.
Goal, but in freediving, like, is it like, is there like a human body limit to how deep I can go, for example?
For sure, for people who will start training, there is the pure capacity of air. A normal person can have, you and me, maybe I could have more, I don't know, but we would have between 5 and 8 liters. I don't want to...
In our lungs?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And if you look at some of the world champions who go very, very, very deep, they have trained themselves to have 14 liters.
Shit.
So it's almost double. And they are, we call it, they are packing the air. They are like gasping the air inside, like packing it, sounding like this. Taking more and more air in, even you are actually full. Because when you breathe in, at some point you feel full.
Yeah.
And they manipulate more air in by packing the air in the lungs. And this is dangerous if you're not trained. And it's a long process. You cannot train like this for a week, 2, a month. It will take, again, I'm no science, so I don't know how long it will take, but it takes long commitments and train this breathing techniques if you want that level. But my perspective on freediving is totally different. For me, it's pure joy. I have no standards for how deep I want to try to go. When I did my freediving 2 certificate and my trainer diploma, I had to go to 30 meters. And that is when you don't know about freediving, 30 meters sounds like a lot. And it is a lot because you have 4 bar pressure on you and it's cold and it's dark. So it is a lot. But people who are trained, they go for 20, 30 meters for spearfishing, for hunting. So I'm not trying to brag. It's not that big of a deal to go 30 meters. But that is my maximum for now. And I have no focus to go deeper.
But how deep could one go? And I mean, what's the deepest deep dive or free dive that...
There are more disciplines, and I don't know the exact records. But for example, I know one record was to swim with a fin. You have a fin on, and you take one breath, and you swim down, and you swim up. You cannot pull the rope. You have to swim. And at some point, the record was around 100, 110 meters.
Shit.
That's a lot. Then, of course, if you have no fins, you swim slower when you swim in the beginning where you have a lot of air carrying you up. But what happens after 15, 20 meters, your body starts to be under pressure. And the way your body can lift you, because the air pocket is now getting smaller, but your weight is the same. So you are starting to free fall. You don't have to swim.
Float as much.
You don't have to swim. You will fall. So they are not swimming down. They are swimming to 15, 20, 25 meters, and they stop swimming. And they fall into some trance, you can say. They just fall. Like a person skydiving. They're just falling. And that will not stop. They will fall and fall and fall until they stop themselves. But now comes the big point. When they turn, the body still wants to fall. They are still negative, buoyance, what we call it in diving. You can be positive, that means you float. It's the best for a boat, for example. Then you can be neutral, it means you stays in the water at that level. That's why they don't find divers when they drown. They stay in that level because the equipment is settled for neutral. So they have to, sorry my language, wash onto some beats before they find them. And you can be negative and then you will fall. So when they turn around in negative, now comes the big struggle. Now you have to swim up. And that takes a lot of energy. Because we calculate around 1 meter per second. That is like a standard, maybe a little faster. But for safety reasons, we say 1 second, 1 meter.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have to go, for example, to 50 meters, it's 50 seconds down and 50 seconds up.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 1 minute, 40 seconds.
Mm.
And most people who would do this over a night, I can train to keep their breath for 2 minutes easily. So it's not the time, but it's the struggle you use swimming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, or not of course, but when you're a free diver, you have one big challenge, and that is the reflex of your body. It's called in English the urge to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Your body is asking you, please breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you are missing air, because you have air in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
That's also why when a freediver blacks out underwater, he's not drowning, because he's locked down from the mammal effect.
Mm-hmm.
I will explain it later, but he's not starting to drink the water. He will not drink the water. He's in a locked position, like a baby inside the stomach of the mother.
Mm-hmm.
The baby is also not drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when they start to swim up, they have used some of the air, and they have accumulated some waste product, the CO2 in the blood. Yeah. And of course, the pressure. The pressure you need for the oxygen to come from your lungs into your blood veins. Mm-hmm. This pressure is dropping. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, like if you and me, we would go out of a helicopter in 6,000-7,000 meters on Mount Everest, we would not have the pressure in our body to press the oxygen into our blood, and we would faint. Mm-hmm. And the technical degree is like 0.12. It's called like this. And when a professional diver comes from these kind of depths and going back up, they will black out if they come below that.
And is that then because they are not able to get rid of the CO2?
No.
And they poison out or
it's because of the body is not getting new oxygen. Even they have it in the blood, they are not getting new oxygen inside.
Into the
Yeah, and they pass out for safety reason. The body shuts down to protect them.
And what happens then? Do they still float up?
That depends on what depth they do.
What depth they're in.
Yeah, and it is normally, in 99%, all kinds of blackouts is in the surface. Mm-hmm. In the last 10-15 meters.
And is that the most common problem?
Yeah, it is the biggest problem for people who wants to do records. Because you have to go back to the surface, show all the okay signs, breathe yourself, and you have to be able to move your own glasses. Remember, you are maybe just about to faint.
Yeah.
And you have to show some signals, wait 30 seconds, and then you will be approved. Mm-hmm. And there are so many scenes on the internet where people are cheering and saying, yes, I did it. And this little job they do by raising their hand or cheering,
it passes them out.
It passes them out.
Yeah. So never. It's a good rule never to celebrate too early.
In this case, you will be disqualified. Yeah. So, but again, it's not my focus to do this. I will do all my dives within pure joy. I always resurface without gasping for air. I know my body so well that I can dive and I can swim around, and at a certain point I feel something. It is the urge to breathe, which I do not control very well still. But you can learn to disregard it. Let's say that you could hold your breath for 3 minutes now. Suddenly your body will call for you to breathe, the urge to breathe, and you will start getting in your stomach some compulsations. It will start like you're pumping. And if you cannot do this, and you don't need to do it because you still have oxygen for 3 more minutes, you have you're only using 50% of your capacity. So when somebody is diving, let's say 3-4 minutes, they have maybe been having these compulsations for the last 2 minutes, calling for air. But they know they have air in the blood.
So it's arguing with your own urges somehow.
Yes, and this is something I have still not mastered completely. I can master it to a certain degree because I get them very, very late in my dive. And then I just go slowly up and surface in a quiet fashion. Yeah.
But how is it like... You mentioned these guys that have trained their lung capacity up to like 14 liters.
Yeah.
Like... For a person who would want to try this or come, I mean, I know you're doing courses. I mean, a person who comes to your course and who is a complete beginner, I mean, how is this? Does it take long for me to build this capacity? I mean,
that is the best benefit of freediving. When you start, you will go, let's call beginning 0%. Just it doesn't mean you can't do anything, but let's call it 0%. You will go extremely far in very short time.
Yeah. So you see progress quickly.
Immediately. Just, for example, we do a course that's called Try Freediving. It's 1.5 hours. And after this, people, hopefully, can go from not being able to dive down because of pain in the ears or something. You need, the pressure is changing, so you have to equalize your ears to get, like in an airplane. When you feel the pressure, you even chew on some chewing gum or
blow the nose.
You blow the nose. We have same trick. And you have to do it because after 7-8 meters, your eardrum will burst. So you have to do it. You cannot continue if it's painful. So just after 1.5 hour, people can actually go to our deep pool. We have an 8-meter deep pool where we train, and they swim 8 meters down and go up. So that is from 0 to 8 meters, and that's a big challenge for many people.
And that's like 8 meters out of, let's say, 30 meters. It's you already covered
one third,
one third of the.
And from that moment, it gets easier to swim down. So you have already cleared the most difficult part because you are full of air. Like try to swim down with a football.
Yeah,
it wants to go up.
Yeah,
and your body wants to go up also. So the first 8, 10, 12 meters, they are the most difficult and the most power demanding. After that, it's so easy to swim. Yeah.
And about you, like, so I know you are not into those extremes and so on, but you prefer to swim horizontally or dive horizontally, let's say. What is that feeling, though? I mean, there must be something that draws you to this, because I mean, it's not like running. You cannot just go out of your home and run a circle and feel great or bike or something. You need to get to an ocean or a pool or a lake. Yeah. It's something is attracting you to this.
It is the calmness. And I will get back to this, what I said before. It's called the mammal effect. Mammals, like dolphins, and actually land animals, we also have mammals. We are mammals.
Whales.
We have something called the mammal effect. When our face comes into water, we have small sensors that says we are in water. And immediately our body go into the mammal effect. Lower heart rate, and it can be up till 50% without you doing anything. You will just start relaxed. That's why when you go in a hot pool, you will say, because it's so nice. But you have to get your face in. It's not enough with the body. You have to have your face in water. So we start manipulating our mammal effect by having our face in the water. You will have all your blood will start going into the vital organs area. That's why when you are in a swimming pool, you start freezing on your toes and on your fingers. Because the blood is leaving...
Concentrated to the organs.
To the organs. And because of the pressure, the blood coming back is filling out the pocket so you cannot decompress your body under pressure. It's a protection device. So this mammal effect is a huge reason why I dive. Because you feel so calm. You are not in stress because the low heart rate. And you just enjoy. And of course, I love water. I love swimming underwater to watch all kinds of things, whether it's girls or fish. I don't care. I just love it to be underwater. And it is then emphasized by the mammal effect. And that is a positive thing. And we are actually starting to teach scuba divers to use this mammal effect a little bit more. Because many people, they just take the mask on before going to the water. So they never get fully activated the mammal effect. And they use more oxygen faster from the tank, and the dive comes shorter. So if we can activate it by a scuba diver, that his heart rate will go down, he can actually scuba dive longer time. But
it's but this calmness, like it.
But it has to be combined with the physical part. I love this, that you have to be in balance, because we have a saying: don't dive before you're ready. If somebody screams, "Oh, look, there's a fish," and you're not ready, then you don't dive. That's it. You dive when you're ready, because it can be challenging to dive down to 8, 10, 12 meters and try to find a fish or an octopus somewhere.
Yeah.
You're easily using 1 minute very fast, and you have to swim down, swim around, and you use energy. And if you have done it 20, 30 times in the ocean, you're getting tired and hyperventilated. So you don't dive before you're ready. So again, the system, like in the pilot, the checklist, you prepare.
And you told me that actually. You told me that when we chatted before. You told me that before, let's say you have your head above the surface of the water.
Yeah.
You have a routine in your mind that you do.
When we free dive, and when we do, let's say we do it on the line, say the line hanging down. We wait. If it's my turn, the other guys will wait. And nobody say, come on, Lars. Never. We wait. People have to be in that rhythm, finding the correct last breath, because there can be waves distracting you. There can be gobbles. There can be jet skis, motorboats. You have to make sure that you are not getting hurt of all, that they have seen you, that you are in the water. So there are many stress factors sometimes. So this concentration, this preparing yourself for the, we call it the breathe up. We breathe up for the last dive. I like that also. Prepare for this. Then you say, now I have completely emptied my lungs. I breathe everything out, and I do some gymnastic with my stomach to empty everything what I have from old air with CO2 inside. I will then breathe as much as I can, new air, and at that point I dive. And
then you have made sure that everything in your surroundings is safe for you to come, because you're also thinking about when you're coming back up, right?
Yeah, that is not my job. That is my dive buddy.
Okay.
I should just relax, because we never dive alone. Or the more fun way to say it, always dive with somebody.
Yeah.
Those are the rules. You are never alone. Of course, you can go snorkeling maybe, but it's not safe to swim or dive or scuba dive alone. You always have your dive buddy. And all systems, all certifications, they have the rule of dive buddy. That's we don't go away from this. So going up is not your concern. Your dive buddy, you are not even looking up when you swim up. If you go on the line, you're just looking at the line, because you are in a better position with your body. If you start looking up, you swim like a banana.
Yeah.
You get round in your back.
Exactly. Your direction will...
It will change. Yeah. So you're just looking at the line when you swim down, and you're looking at the line when you swim up. And you trust that your dive buddy have moved away other divers and checked everything.
What about like marine life? Like, you know, let's say that you're free diving in the ocean. You're not scared of, you know, sharks or something. I mean, is it a fearless environment somehow when you're under the surface? Because I think for a lot of people, I mean, there are people that don't even want to go to swimming pools because they are scared of sharks.
Yeah.
Sharks don't live there, but
no, it's create this effect of something coming from underneath. I have this, and I do not have a big ocean experience. I have been diving in many pools, many you can say of our kinds of oceans. So there are just darkness or coldness, which is my biggest fear. Or going into something. If I go into a wreck, a sunken boat or something, on one breath, I want to be sure that I know how to get out. So there's a lot of preparation before you dive into something. I understand these fears. I have some of them myself. I'm not fascinated by swimming with. I would like to try it, even though, but it's not my fascination to swim with big sharks or big whales. I would get a little bit shocked also, I think.
I swam with dolphins, actually. I did with dolphins in New Zealand. It was great.
That was nice. I did it also. And a beluga I swam with.
There's the white one.
Yeah, it was in some pool area. We rented it. But actually, the biggest shock is what you don't see. Even it's a huge fish, because you have the goggles on and you have a certain view that is yours, and then suddenly you have this big fish passing you. It's not aggressive; it's just swimming.
Yeah.
That is
You're visiting his home, you know.
Yeah. So that is actually for me the biggest shock. But then we are really speaking scuba divers. They have the time for this.
Yeah.
We are more or less swimming.
Focusing on down and up.
Yeah, down and up. And of course, when I go for tourism place, I do a little snorkeling, and then I do some free diving if I'm not alone. Then I would go down to anything from 5 till 15 meters. That is my best area because you have all the sunlight. You can see everything.
Yeah, it's still visibility.
Yeah, and it's still hot because there will come some thermal layer and it start getting colder. So the enjoyment is just biggest, and you can still hear the waves. You can see the foam on the waves, and it's so nice to swim in these 5 to 15 meters. And they are not the biggest shocks to get, I think.
No. So if you told me that before we started recording, I was offering you coffee, and you told me that it's not good for diving. Actually, coffee,
anything what would make your heartbeat rise, and coffee does that. You should avoid some hours before at least. So all my students and myself, we will always not be drinking a lot of coffee before training. Some hours before, and we are trying to teach also scuba divers that this alcohol in the evening, alcohol will rise your blood pressure also. So they can dive shorter time.
Yeah, on the oxygen. Yeah.
So and of course it's a very good question about this because what will you do if you actually see a big fish or a shark, even a friendly shark, of course, because we never hear about shark attacks, but it's in our mind. Will you then scream and blow out all your air when you're a free diver? So that is another saying. Say what you do and do what you say. So if you say for your body, I'm going now to 20, maybe 25 meters. I will then. Oh, I'm sorry. I will then make a stop, and I will stand on the line and enjoy the view for anything up till 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever you say this.
You cannot change that plan then.
No, you can do less.
Never more.
You are the decider of what happens, but you don't. I'm swimming so easily down, so I will go to 40. Because your safety diver, he is prepared for you to go to that depth what you told him. And he will count the seconds and say, okay, he will be there, now he's turning. Okay, now is the time for me to swim down. If he blackouts, I should carry him up. Then he cannot come down and say, where is he? He went further. And then he has to wait. And he will get tired, and then you have nobody to save you. So when you are preparing your dive, you say, what will I do if I see this big fish I know live here in the area? I will be scared, but I will keep my breath. You can prepare yourself. And that's what I mean when I say the skills of freediving I use in my personal life. For example, if you have to tell your wife you want a divorce, what I tried, you have to prepare how to do this. You have to prepare in your mind
how it's going to play out and what's going to happen.
What if this happened? What if this happened? Prepare yourself. And still, I try to never lose my mind. So still keep sane even what happens. And that is, of course, very important if you see something, shadow in the depth when you're at 20 meters and you're almost out of air. You cannot panic. Just turn around, swim up.
But that's very much, Lars, it's interesting now what you just said this, because, I mean, I see like a commonality here, you know, you like the military part because there it's on airplanes and pilot and because that's very much about systems, protocol, and actually being able to perform in some way in extreme conditions or abnormal conditions.
Abnormal, good word, yeah.
And that then you still have to remain calm and you have to trust on the system that you know.
Yeah.
And then you go to the carpets. Yeah. The boring carpets, but you actually find the passion in the systems.
Yeah, I
do. You go and send gloves to Angola,
Yeah.
and you find the pleasure in the systems to solve a critical situation.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about diving.
Yeah.
Okay, I say as I do and I do as I say, and I follow, you follow certain rules.
Yeah.
And then you bring that into your personal life as well, because now I need to sort out something in my marriage.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Where do you think this comes from? This passion for?
I don't like when people are shouting and arguing. I know they could have, if it's a couple, they could have great make-up sex, I've heard.
Yeah.
But I cannot shout and scream to get my fears out or my frustrations out. So I rather have them out in my preparations somehow, if it makes sense.
So you believe that by controlling or having that control, you avoid...
I will answer you honestly. I think it's the best.
But
my dad was very temperamental.
Uh-huh.
Never physically. I had the best childhood. But he was very temperamental. If something went wrong, he would shout very loud for 8 seconds and he would be down again.
Yeah.
And he would have forgotten it.
Yeah, but the people around did not forget it.
Yeah, and then at a certain point, when you're a small child and you get used to this, when you then become a teenager and older and a young man, it's enough. It's just enough. I cannot have it anymore. So if my wife would do that, I shut off all channels and I don't remember what she told me because I am damaged from this.
Yeah.
My concentration goes away.
Uh-huh.
And I had problems with Angola because the Angola manager, he would be so angry if we made some mistake or something happened with his shipment because he's waiting 6-7 weeks for his things. And if they are then delayed and he cannot do a job, he would shout and shout in the telephone. And I got him to write me an email that he accepts that anything he says in this outburst, he cannot use against me because I say, I cannot listen to it. I cannot concentrate. I will help you. But if you shout, I'm off. Mentally, I'm off. I cannot remember what we talk about. So
that's a quality.
I don't know, but that is the honest answer to your question.
But it's interesting because then you have developed a coping mechanism by making sure that things work.
Yeah. You can say that.
That's brilliant.
And that's if you go snorkeling somewhere and you are 1 hour in the water, I would be in that one hour, I could be down maybe 20 times, including the minute down, coming up. So that's just 20 minutes underwater. And there's just 40 minutes left to recover, get your breath, because you are now hyperventilating and you are accumulating CO2 in your blood. So the urge to breathe come faster. And that is when the concentration and my fascination starts. Pressing this, because pushing from this triathlon, swimming with the students, I had the same effect, but I had to swim with the student. So I knew that when I came up, I would tell him some specifics, and then I would start doing my recovery, get myself in control. Sorry.
But how, just out of curiosity, I mean, how you still had a good relationship with your father?
Yeah, amazing relationship. Yeah. But this one point changed this side of me. I do not want to argue and shout with people.
Yeah. So you find ways that work that don't require shouting and
when I was a manager and I had to fire people, for example, and now I know that I use the same technique. I didn't call it freediving technique at that time, but it is actually the same. Who is this person? How will he or she react to my decision? Can I offer anything? Well, I analyze this situation before it happens. And then I will not do it Monday. No, because then we do this and Friday I will tell him. So I make a plan. I say what I do. Yeah. And I did what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way.
Yeah.
That's Lars. This is really interesting. I mean, I knew when I found you that there could be something here, but it's such interesting line somehow that you have followed.
Yeah.
And it's all connected in some beautiful way,
Now it's just escalating because now I'm getting to 48 like you, and I want maybe still to have more children. I have just 5 plus 2 bonus.
Only 7, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I cannot run around like being 60 and not being able to move. So I have skipped alcohol 2 years ago, and I'm eating much more healthy. So
you're 48 and you still want to have more kids?
Yes.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
You're a man on a mission. So if people want to know more, where can they find you? What can they follow if they're interested in your free diving lessons? And
I will do free diving where the people want it to be done.
Yeah.
It takes some planning, but if they want to just try it, for example, the best way is to come here to Prague. They can contact me on my webpage. It's called loveliving.dk like Denmark or .cz like Czech Republic. Loveliving.dk. They can find my contact details at that page. And we will arrange if they want to have a session in a pool. We can arrange an 8-meter deep pool here in Czech Republic. It is our training facility. We can go to a lake. If they want something funny, we can go swim in a river against the currents. Or we can fly to Malta and do a schooling if you want a certificate for level 1, for example. But it takes planning, and everything is possible. We have it all in our system. I work with a big diving shop here in Prague. They do all the certificates, all the paperwork, and they have all the facilities. We even have a big boat for 12 people in I think the Canarian Islands that can be rented if something. So with planning, I would do these adventures with joy with other people.
Okay. So it's loveliving.cz and loveliving.dk.
Yeah, it's the same page.
Any social media or you have Instagram or Facebook page or anything for this?
The same name for on Facebook.
Yeah, Love Living.
Love Living, yeah.
And where is that name coming from, Love Living?
It's coming from my change in life.
Yeah.
That I realized that I want more love and I want more life.
And
I
living,
find and also the not extreme part of freediving.
Yeah.
I don't want to die because I freedive.
Yeah.
So I love living. And my new partner, since now more than 2 years, she's showing me all the way in the emotional and in the love and all this. And it's a total new spectre of my life. And I want to follow this.
That's great.
So that created this webpage.
So. You've had many chapters in your life, and now you're obviously in an exciting one.
Now I'm in an exciting one, and we want to create in a few years some place where we can do diving, yoga, mental training, breathing training, because I do a lot of breathing, like techniques, and you can say breathing gymnastics almost, and it is extremely healthy.
Yeah,
extremely healthy.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because breathing changes the what is it called, the chemical context of your blood. If you breathe correctly, you can change it, and you can kill viruses.
Yeah, heal your body and
but mostly you can actually kill viruses. If you have a flu, for example, and you do certain breathing techniques, in a few minutes your nose will be clear, for example. From being blocked, you can open it in a few seconds.
Because I guess you're filling your blood with healthy oxygen and cleaning out.
It is when it's a method where you are actually not breathing. You are breathing everything out what you have. Take everything out. And then you hold to say your breath. You don't have a breath, but you hold it there. And immediately we'll call this effect urge to breathe, because you have no air, but you keep it. And that will create a sort of a vacuum in you. And that releases another pH level in your blood.
Okay, we're into super detailed.
Now it's detailed.
But this sounds good, Lars, and very happy that I had you guys. Those of you listening, the show has a Facebook page called The Bunker. How the hell did we end up here? And there's an Instagram profile called The Bunker Prague. Thanks to the sponsors. Thanks for listening. Follow the show. Feel free to review it on Apple Podcasts, which is very good. And hello to all my new. Apparently, I'm reaching out to a new crowd in Canada and the US. And also shout out to my friends in Pakistan that are listening. I see you on my list of countries. So Lars, have a nice evening.
You too.
And
thank you for
having me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.